Alright, y'all. Normally, I'm like this cheery person in front of the camera, but that isn't the case today. I just want to have a heart-to-heart with the real fans. Today, I'm lighting off my first firework in over 5 years. Just a disclaimer, please be careful when using fireworks. Don't be dumb and stupid.
Life of Nova Online has been extremely lame recently. All we're seeing from his TikTok page is his goofy karaoke videos and his Pokemon card pack openings. Also, we're only seeing YouTube streams because recently he's just refused to go live on TikTok anymore, and all we're seeing from his YouTube streams are shitty gameplay streams with no face cams or, again, some Pokemon card pack openings. So I wanted to make a video that goes through more of Nova's past antics and really diving deep into why Nova is so hated and what the reasons are behind this. Now, we all know that Nova is infamous for his Discord servers. Recent Discord fiasco revealed some telling things that Nova is still up to his usual bullshit. There was a member of the Discord who, in their profile description, revealed that they were not of age, and also in that profile you can see that they were Discord friends with Nova. Recently, the GOAT, Solidus Nova over on X, go drop them a follow, had a conversation with the individual, in which they started off the conversation by saying that Nova and her had actually been friends for 3 years now. So this shows that while Nova was dealing with each one of his controversies, from the Twinkle Twinkle Little Star controversy to the whole thing that happened with his co-host Sia on his horrific podcast, he was still talking to these underage people on Discord. Something we see time and time again with Nova is he's constantly dumping his personal information and his personal feelings online to strangers. Now I'm going to play a little bit of the interview and you guys can see, like, this is nothing new for Nova. He's always dumping this weird shit on underage people and just like throwing out all his personal feelings, and he's just getting mad and angry and talking to people who he shouldn't be talking to.
And then no respond until he'd be like, I fucking hate my life. And then I'd be like, well, I was wrong. Ah. No, I fucking hate my life. And then I'd be like, what's wrong? And usually he wouldn't respond. But that day he was like, oh, it's just the trolls and stuff, and they're saying mean things about me.
Nova doesn't understand that people really don't like him. They're not there to help him. Like, people aren't going to come to his aid and calm him down after a Too High for Stupid podcast where Smokey and Kiwi berate him for an hour. Or when something goes wrong in his life, like, people aren't there to help him. People are there to get clips, to troll him, and to tell him to get off the internet. So you can see that every time Nova is having a shitty day, he goes and he dumps his feelings on random people on the internet, which isn't going to help him at all. Like, he needs actual help. If he has all these issues that he claims he has, he needs to get legitimate help. So dumping all your personal feelings and what's going on in your life, including to, people like the underage individual that we're currently talking about, it's never going to go well for Nova. One of the things that I found about the interview was a supposed merch contest that Nova had in his Discord, and I was not aware that this ever happened. And if it did really happen, I can only imagine what people drummed up. Like, a French onion soup shirt or like a wig of straight grease, that would be fire for Nova's merch right there. Like, I'm generally putting him on. You get a nice little wig of straight Nova grease, you're selling the bitches out instantly. But back to the actual point of the interview, what really annoys the hell out of me with what the person is describing on the interview is the fact that she had to so frequently consult this adult man. Like, Nova, you are an adult. You should not be running to underage children when you're having a bad day or when a troll says something mean to you. You need to find a different avenue of getting over things without having to make a child your therapist. Now, I'm sure all of you know about Nova's fetish of age regression, and what this means for Nova is that he both physically and mentally returns back to an age that he enjoys to help cope with something, whatever he's dealing with currently. And normally someone who participates in age regression, if that's the right terminology or not, does it to cope and deal with trauma. However, it's speculatory if that's what Nova's actually doing. The reason behind this speculation is because he brings so many underage people to help him, quote unquote. As you can hear again in the interview, the individual talks about how Nova came to her and talked to her about regress.
Telling me like, oh, you're making me regress. And I was like, what's regress? And he was like, oh, it's where I just go back to the state of being a little kid. You make me feel like I want to be a little kid again. And I was like, why? And he's like, because you're such a mommy. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, you're such a mommy. You do this and you do that. And you can comfort me when I'm sad. And I was like, well, I'm just being a friend. And he was like, yeah, but it's more than that. And I was like, okay, that's kind of weird. Whatever.
That is not okay. Flat out. That is weird. That is wrong. Not good. Bad shit there. However you want to phrase it. What Nova did to this child is not okay. He should not be able to get away with things like this on the internet. Calling someone who is underage a mommy figure is stomach churning. As an adult man, you need to have some sort of reality check. Now, another big subject matter within Nova's regression revolves around binkies. Now, I'm sure you guys have seen the leaks on Twitter of his binky collection, where there's all different colors and textured binkies, and like, I'm all for collecting things, but binkies? Fucking binkies? Get a grip, Nova. You're an adult. Binkies are not for you. And you can hear again in the interview, Gabriel shows this underage person his binky collection, and he showed her this after raging and saying that he didn't have any binkies.
I've seen videos about his binky, and I was like, oh, let me just ask. And I was like, do you have a binky? I think I've seen a video about it. And he was like, all these fucking trolls, they say that I have binkies, blah, 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 I don't. And I was like, do you? And he was like, well, I do. And so he showed me his binky, and he said that he like sucking on it, reminds him of being a baby.
From what the interview sounded like, the person who Nova was dumping all of this bullshit on dealt with it for a while. She talked about how Nova, when he went to the hospital and was being diagnosed with depression and anxiety, she was the person telling him that it was okay, like everything was going to be alright. Now, it's one thing to have someone check in on you to make sure you're okay, especially when you're dealing with something as serious as depression and anxiety. However, it's another thing to bait this depression and anxiety to get an underage child who is a stranger to him to talk to him. That is not okay. This kid should not be responsible for making a grown man feel better. Nova shouldn't be treating them like a mobile therapist. And I really don't ever see Nova growing up from this. I feel like he's going to continue dealing with his issues in the same way. Raging on TikToks, melting down on YouTube streams, and talking his issues through with underage people online. It's all he knows. And that's why it's so important for him to get off the internet. It's not good for him, and it more importantly isn't good for any kid that gets into his diaper raging crossfire. Now, quick segue, there was a TikTok posted today by the old Chubster about his current job applications and how he's sick of everyone commenting on his TikToks the same things about him not having a job or him needing to fill out applications. Now, I think these comments are hilarious. Now, Nova does prove that he is filling out job applications, which
I've had it. I'm going to show you proof that I'm actually applying for jobs. First up, bakery assistant. They viewed my application, never heard back. Also, cook at a Mexican restaurant. Applied. They probably hit delete on my application before they even viewed it. Next up, line cook at a local bar. They viewed my application, yet I haven't heard back. Hotel housekeeper at a local hotel. They never viewed my application. Even Taco Bell hasn't even gotten back to me yet. And as you can see, these were all applied for within the last week. So stop with the get a job comments, because I'm actively working on it. FML.
I mean, like, congrats. That isn't really the win he thinks it is. Like, you're 21 years old, and you've been fired more times from jobs than most people do in their entire life. You should have had a job already to be helping support your household. Like, Mama Gage needs that $900 rent a month, Nova. And it also costs nothing to apply to these jobs. Like, he's applying at Taco Bell or to be like a house cleaner or a different line cook jobs. Like, the only thing that it takes is time. And Nova is usually spending all of his time by sitting on his ass playing WWE or Call of Duty Zombies, quite poorly, by the way. But that's not the point of the video. I just thought it was funny that Nova's comment section gets flooded by the get a job comment spam, and he addressed it by showing his application status to like Taco Bell. Nova has once again been hit with a big controversy. He's surrounded by them at this point, at every angle, with this newest one being brilliantly brought to us by Solidus Nova. Once again, massive shout out to him for gathering this information and posting it online. Go drop them a follow on it. Nova won't escape from this onslaught of accusations and controversies because he doesn't learn. Every time he does something like this, he takes zero responsibility, he blames everyone else for it, and he calls it fake, and he just eventually moves on, which is horrible. If you're going to do something so despicable, then the least that you can do is own up to it, apologize, and try and regain whatever you can from it. But Nova won't do this, because in his eyes, he hasn't done anything wrong. So unfortunately, I know we will be seeing something like this again, whether it's long into the future or shortly coming. Regardless, thank you guys for tuning into another video. I am going to be working on a longer Nova video, because my videos have been hovering around the 10-minute mark, because I don't want to ramble for too long on one area, but I also do want to get you guys some more like in-depth content, you know, turning over each rock and finding out everything I can about Nova for you. So I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope everyone enjoyed their 4th of July. Stay safe, y'all. Deuces.